Mikey.
Jason LaChance.
I am so excited. We are joined by the lovely Leah Messer, of course, of Teen Mom 2. And it's so good to see you. You look gorgeous today, by the way. We knew you got prepped for the interview. We were so flattered that you went out and got done up. You were getting your eyebrows done and all that stuff.
Yes.
So,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. It's an honor. I'm excited to be here, share my story with you guys. And yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're looking forward to it.
So let's talk a little bit about, of course, people know from the show that you've gone through prescription pills was your area of addiction, but I don't know where that started, because it seems to start in such a different place. Do you have a family history of addiction, or was it?
I do.
Okay.
My dad is actively in addiction, currently prescription addiction. So yeah, I do have a family line of addiction. And I mean, yeah, I didn't really realize, I mean, I was against it my whole childhood. Like, I was just very angry and resentful towards my dad for leaving at such a young age. And I didn't quite understand until I found myself in the same situation, you know?
Yeah. No, I know all too well, because as we were talking prior to recording, my father went to 2. I was the kid in high school that didn't drink at the parties, didn't do drugs, got the drunk people home and all that stuff, and was like, no way that's going to happen to me. And then, here I am, 20 something years later, and I'm the guy touting the blue book and the steps and everything else. So it's pretty great. How did you find yourself falling into it, since you were so anti, drugs and everything else?
Addiction can happen to anyone. I gave birth to my youngest in 2013. And when I gave birth to her, they put me on morphine in the hospital. They botched my spinal tap and put me on morphine in the hospital. From there, they sent me home on a couple prescription medications. And that is when the active addiction came. And then it came to me buying the prescriptions off the street and also being suicidal. So then it was like, something's not right. Like, I'm losing myself. I'm losing all of me.
Yeah. And does that surprise you so much that you saw so much of it with your dad, and what it led him to, that you would fall into it? Or do you think that when they talk about addiction as a disease, that sometimes some of this stuff is just so hereditary and it could hit,
Yeah. I thought I could avoid it. I didn't feel my body becoming dependent on the medication that I was taking at the time, until it was too late and I became suicidal. And I was buying it off the streets. I was doing very illegal activities, and it was a spiral downhill from there.
Yeah.
Now, with your it was the epidural? Is that what it was? The botched epidural?
Yeah, they injected me. It was up to in between 13 and 15 times.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So they told you that it was botched? Did you just not, like, did they say?
I had spinal fluid. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I had spinal fluid leaking, and they even tried to do a what is it called? Oh, my mind went blank. I apologize. They tried to do a blood patch where they took blood from an IV, my arm, and put it in my spine. And that did not help. And by that point, I was like, I want out of the hospital. I want out of here. I didn't feel like I was protected. I didn't feel like I was safe. And I became afraid of doctors. Yeah. And I'm still, even to this day, we're supposed to be able to put our trust in them. And I did, but I had no direction, even with the medication afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, and I was terrified. I was like,
yeah, that's one of the plights that we heard. We had a gentleman that he fell into heroin from prescription medication because he got injured in sports, and he kind of had none of that. And he was following the rules. Mm-hmm. He was following the prescription.
He was taking it as prescribed, and that's how we got hooked on it. So, and that eventually led to heroin.
Mm-hmm. I actually tried heroin once, and I haven't got to that part of my book. It was mostly childhood trauma memoir. But I did, and my personal experience, I didn't feel anything from it. I think it was a divine intervention, and I just stayed on it was when you can't find pain medication, there was the heroin, cheaper, easier form. And I actually was with my dad when I done it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So speaking of your book, what is the title of the book? That had slipped my mind.
Hope, Grace, and Faith. I wrote a memoir of my childhood and just what really propelled me to make the decisions that I did as a young adult, getting pregnant at 17, and then all of the obstacles and challenges that came after that.
Yeah.
And I would imagine for you, the obstacles and challenges are multiplied by 100 because you were on TV with all of this. Like this was all documented.
Public.
So aside from being a mother at that age, you were a mother and in the eye of everybody. Everybody's watching you, judging your every move. Like I can't even imagine the amount of pressure that put on you and every other person that was on that show as well.
It definitely did. That's when it became like an image thing, and I felt ashamed. Felt very ashamed. There's such a stigma against addiction, and it's so sad because again, it can happen to literally anyone. And the best people, you know, and I just didn't expect it, you know. I don't know.
I am 5150.
I have the power to choose my own path.
When you're 5150, you choose to stand out.
If you choose to believe in yourself and trust your strength, will carry you through.
Choose to strive for greatness.
Choose to do good.
And help make the world a better place. Choose to be passionate enough to chase your dreams.
I am 5150.
Well, what are some of those early traumas in addition to your dad's addiction that you think led to you becoming a parent at an early age?
So my mom didn't have much direction herself. And although we are in a great place, she was a single mother trying to navigate motherhood at a young age as well and work multiple jobs. Many different people had to watch me, and I would be sexually abused. And even after that, my mom, it was like she tried to live through me during my teenage years. And it became like, there was some things that just wasn't necessarily what a parent figure would do.
Right.
And yeah, just a lot of physical, sexual, mental abuse, and all in all trauma that led me. I mean, I didn't have a great direction. Like this is, even talking about birth control, that was never mentioned, or puberty, that stuff like that wasn't communicated to me.
Yeah.
I found myself being codependent in one relationship after the other, looking for love in all of the wrong places.
Yeah, I can relate to pretty much everything that you're saying right there, all too well. I had a feeling that was kind of the door or avenue you're going to go down. And, and it's such an alarming statistic at the rate at which, teenagers start to use. We had a gentleman on who said the statistic, it was somewhere in the low 90 percentile of teenagers that are abusing substances. It's like 92% have had some sort of sexual trauma at some point. And it's such an alarming rate too. And that's a hard thing because having gone through it myself, I felt so ashamed. And what was the reconciling for you on that, of knowing you just didn't have the defense mechanisms and didn't know because you weren't protected as a child?
Honestly, the turning point for me was when I went to the treatment facility in Arizona. It was the foundation I needed as a little girl. The therapy, it was amazing. I went to Sierra Tucson in Arizona. Oh my gosh, it was just incredible. I had time to reflect. I had time to write, and really work through all of that. I tuck so much, so deep within myself and wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't, and I was in the public eye, and it was like I had to keep up with this persona or this image, and I had to let all of that go.
Yeah. That's really strong of you to know. And it makes me wonder, when you're in that kind of a situation, was there any sort of a struggle with the producers and things like that? Or was it that they realized that, hey, you could not be here anymore and you needed to get help?
The executives, Larry specifically, was the biggest support system I had. I was in a really really tough custody battle, and being able to own that I was struggling with addiction was impossible. I was being hair follicle drug tested. I was going to get my, I was going to lose custody of my children. And that was even more shameful for me. I was like, that's my entire world. If I lose them, I don't have anything to, like, I felt like I didn't have anything to live for. And the executive producer was like, Leah, the best thing for them is for you to go to the treatment facility and get the help that you need and deserve. And that was the support system I had. And they took me there, and I was like, all right, this is it.
Yeah. Well, you seem now, and it's so great to see, because, a lot of our mission is getting rid of the stigma and that shame factor that people put on us. And you seem so rewarded now by having been able to go through it and share that fact with people.
It is so rewarding to own it and just accept who I am and all of who I am and all the obstacles that made me who I am today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost, it's so cathartic. It's relieving. It's just, I don't know. It's exceptional. I don't even know what to say. It's that,
Yeah, no, I understand. So what were some of the great things that when you did go into rehab, can you walk us through it? I mean, a lot of our listeners may not know or have an understanding of the process of when you come in, the detoxing period, and then those periods of kind of rebuilding yourself or building yourself, really. It's not even a rebuild, it's building anew.
Yeah, the facility in Arizona it was set up so great. You went in and you talked to an admissions, someone in admissions, and then they checked all your belongings and things like that to make sure you're not bringing anything in. Minimized. Listen, I brought so much stuff. They just like kept throwing it out. I was like, oh gosh, I was not a minimalist at that time. And they just kept throwing. I'm telling you guys, I probably had 5 things of shaving cream, 5 razors, 10 bottles of shampoo. Ridiculous. And then they took me into, it was kind of like a triage, where you went through detox. Probably that is the scariest part for anyone that is actively in addiction. It was for me. Just speaking from knowing what's to come, I think it was scary, and detoxing. And then from there, you kind of had dorms set up. And you go, they took me to my dorm. They had, I did have someone with me in the same room, not on the same track that I was on, but there was also multiple tracks. And I feel like someone going to a treatment facility, the stigma even against that, thinking, oh, like it's just solely for this, or this person's struggling, or yeah, just like the stigma against it. It's like, no, like some people were just there to take 2 weeks to themselves to rediscover, they just needed that break. There was equine therapy, there was massage therapy, you had group therapy, you had 12-step, all of this there. And it was just, I don't know, it gave me that foundation, it gave me that routine. I was up every morning at 5 a.m. doing my laundry, something I've never done before, mind you. And I've carried that on through my life, or in my life now.
Jeez, you and I had completely different rehabs, Leah.
Well, in West Virginia, we need better treatment facilities that I went to. And from my personal experience, I'm going to do whatever I have to make sure that we have that, because we have an opioid crisis here. Yeah. And I'm seeing so many people OD even the past month in this pandemic. It's devastating. People that I know and have went to school with, just struggling alone. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking.
Well, and to give me your opinion on this, I think a lot of the relapse is because addiction is the opposite of connectivity. And so when we have a situation like this and we become disconnected from our positive groups, it is easy for people to falter, and no judgment on it, but it is a sad situation.
Yeah, you feel alone. Yeah. And then you don't have your groups or anything like that. I mean, I know they're trying to do virtual groups, but you want that personal interaction, people that relate, people that understand, and that connection. And we're definitely missing that during the pandemic.
Yeah. Well,
That's what Matt was saying too. He's like, I'm a hugger, man. When we do these meetings, I want to say, "What's up, brother?" Give him a hug and whatnot. I can't do that now. So
90 days, you're awesome. Come here, bring it in.
Instead, it's just like high five in front of the camera. High five.
Darn.
So how are you managing it with the kids? Of course, for folks that don't know, one of your children has muscular dystrophy. And so how are you managing as a parent right now during all this time, as well as continuing your path of sobriety?
Oh my goodness. So I do virtual therapy sessions. I meditate, yoga, anything that keeps me in alignment, anything that brings me joy, even if that is virtually, keeping me in a good headspace. And I need that. I don't know about you guys, but I need that. This e-learning and virtual stuff is like, whew, I was like rushing here, rushing to get to this podcast, and then taking state tests during a pandemic when you were e-learning and I'm like, stop it. I can't, this is crazy.
We got to put some of that stuff on hold right now. Let's focus on the education as opposed to just the test. So when you found out that you had a child that was going to have special needs, how did you process that? And I ask because my son has Asperger's, and I kind of remember when I first accepted that fact, which obviously a very much different situation than yourself.
Yeah. So it was, I was devastated initially just because I didn't know what to expect. And it took us 4 years to even discover a diagnosis for her. She has, a really rare form of muscular dystrophy. It's actually Titan mutation. And when she was diagnosed, there was only, she was the only child of 8 adults worldwide that had this type. So she is the study. She is the research. And as we go, we know, somewhat what muscular dystrophy does. And it's, you lose muscle mass, and it's a progressive disease. So we know that we somewhat what to expect, but with hers in general, it's a little different. It's rare, and we don't. She's the study,
Wow, I couldn't.
I remember watching her too. She's so sweet. All your girls are, but yeah, I remember seeing her on TV and stuff too. I'm just like, aw.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She is so sweet, so sweet. And determined, that motivation. She gets that from her mama.
That's a good thing, right?
Yes.
So how did really the process of Teen Mom come about? It sounds like life was at that point prior to it pretty much in pretty disheveled. You've obviously the traumas that you shared, you've gone through. Dad is gone, his addiction, mom obviously not, present, but not really parent present, so to speak. So how does a situation like this even come about?
Actually, my mom signed me up for the show. I thought it was a big scam. I thought it was a joke. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be on TV. Okay. Because I'm pregnant. Ooh. You know what I mean?
Because it really is kind of a crazy idea, right?
Yeah. That's what, I was just like, what? And then I was getting my nails done, and a producer, Dia and Morgan, called, and they were like, yeah, we want you on our show. I'm actually from Clarksburg and this and that. And I'm like, oh no, this is real. They really want me to be on the show. And when they said $5,000, I was like, okay, homegirl ain't got any money. I'm jumping on this $5,000. I'm
Let's
pregnant,
do this shit.
Yeah. So that's initially that's how it started. And that's kind of anyone's mindset at 17, right? I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, $5,000 at 17. Hell yeah.
You are rolling in the dough at that point.
A new car.
Yeah.
It's like the prize is right. A new car. Come on down, Leah Messer. You just won. So was there did they have a kind of a casting process for you, or was it pretty much, hey, we know your story and you're it?
We did an at-home video. When they did reach out to me personally, we did a home video, or no, it was right before that. We did the home video, and that my mom had mentioned to me to submit to them, and it was me and the twins' dad, and then they called, and that was it for an hour show of being pregnant.
How did the twins' dad feel about it when you first told him?
He was game. He was like, let's go, let's do this. Yeah.
And then
Damn, that's dope. You just get
Yeah,
a call
his
like, hey, check
family
it out.
was definitely, his family was definitely more like, I don't know, like level-headed. They were like, what are you really need to think about this. He just had a lot of structure in his childhood and home life. Yeah.
Right.
So once everything started, what were the overwhelming things that maybe you didn't expect or think out prior to it? Or was it once kind of it aired and then you got recognition, but then some of the pressures started to mount?
At first, I definitely thought that, having the cameras around were cool, and preventing teen pregnancy. I just have that heart. Like, I want to make a difference. I want to use my platform to make that difference. And although it didn't quite make sense when I was 17, it does now. Oh, I forgot what I was saying.
You're good.
I do that all the time.
I know. What was your question again?
You were the mounting pressures, but you were talking about the misconception that people go, oh, this mom, it glamorizes teen pregnancy, but no, it's quite the opposite intent. Yeah,
it was definitely the opposite of glamorizing teen pregnancy. And honestly, when my 16 and Pregnant aired, I cried. I stayed up all night crying. I'm getting all of this feedback from so many people. They're seeing me go back to a relationship with someone that's not my children's father, that I had dated for 3 years in high school, right before meeting, my children's father now. And I have everyone judging me. I just didn't expect that, I didn't expect the feedback and the comments and the engagement. I just did not. It was hard.
The thing that was going through your head was 5Gs in a TV show, but not to realize all the shit that would come with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like all these people judging and whatnot. Yeah, that would be really hard at such a young age to deal with all that, because I'm sure there was a lot of haters. And, sure, there was people like, oh, that's awesome, that's good, they're bringing awareness to it. But
yes,
when you're on a TV show or something like that and you blow up and you're more popular, I'm sure that, all the haters and all that crap just come rolling in.
Definitely does. And I didn't know what to expect, but listen, I've taken it and made the best of it.
Yeah. Well, and it's a challenging thing for anyone to navigate, especially in our social media culture. Did you face any real just negative outlash through social media, and how do you navigate that? Because I think that's an important thing to share, especially with the youth now. They seem to be more greatly affected by it.
You see, when the show started, that's when social media really started taking off, around that time. And now I kind of don't read the comments. I use my platform to really make a difference, and the comments, it's nice to see positive comments, and most of the time I just kind of scroll past the negative comments. I feel like the negative comments, if we feed into that, that's what energy picks up the most, we really hone in on that negative comment versus the 500 positive comments.
Right.
And it's just like I don't even give it my time, my energy, my attention, because I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with my platform, and I know what I want to continue to do. And it doesn't, like your, I guess, hate or judgments or criticism, it doesn't, I don't let it resonate. I don't let it sit with me. It just doesn't. But it takes some work to get to that place also, because we, I don't know, it's hard sometimes.
It really is. I mean, it's on a personal level or with what we do professionally. And have you ever had a situation where you have read a negative comment and like direct message the person and just asked them, hey, what's going on with you? Why do you think getting my attention has to come through negativity?
Listen, you can say anything you want about me. I can handle it. I'm a big girl. I got this. But when you say something about my children, that's when Mama Bear comes out. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
My daughter, Allie, the sweetest child, most determined child in the entire world, is meant to be on this earth. And for her to for there to ever be comments posted, I was trying to find IP addresses. I'm not even playing. Like, yeah,
this shit is going down now.
Yeah, they definitely said some really, and they still do sometimes, like she should have been aborted, or she shouldn't be here, or making fun of the way she walks, or it's very sad. I was just talking about this the other day. I was like, who does that? Who gets behind? I get that they're behind a computer screen so they can hide, but who comments stuff like that about a child?
Yeah. Miserable people. That's who. Like, we'll get some and Jason will, want to reach out, and I'm like, dude, just fuck that. Don't even respond to his shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do it, but I'll do it for my personal account. What's his name?
Because I don't want to reach out to lash out to him. I want to ask, like, what sir, because it's usually men. Very rarely is it ever women, at least in our scenario. What we do, what is going on in your world that this is the kind of attention that you're wanting from us? Or what are we doing so much that you feel that you are in such a position to be so judgmental? And to me, it just makes no sense. And I couldn't imagine it on the level that what you're doing, with Teen Mom and
and that's the thing. Us women's got to support each other too. I mean, I get that you guys got to support each other, but us women, like, let's not hate on each other. We need each other more than anything, let's lift each other up. And social media makes it so hard. You see all of these photos that are extremely edited, all of these crazy presets, and it puts this fake, and then people think they got to keep up with it. And we just need support. We all do, all of us women.
Yeah, no, and it's very true. And as a father to a daughter, it's it's one of my biggest concerns in life as it moves forward. I want her to be strong. I want her to be independent. I want her to find her own identity. And I don't want her to try to gauge that happiness based upon what we present on social media. Very rarely is someone going to go, I am having a shit day. Here's a photo. Haven't brushed my teeth or my hair. It's not going to happen.
And you don't post bad yourself. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. The whole social media thing in general, I've actually considered deleting it, especially with everything going on. It's just,
oh, damn. 1 second. Hold on. We got a timer light in here, and the electrician never came back to change it.
That's nice. Energy saver right there.
I'm on light duty. So yeah. No, what I was saying is I've actually considered deleting my social media just because there's just so much going on. It's not all bad, but there's so many opinions and so divided, and that causes so much more drama and all that. And that's people like me and Jason who are not in the public eye like you. You know what I mean? So I can't imagine the kind of stuff you get, because like he said, he was like, hey, what's going on? When somebody sends him a negative DM, fuck that. I'm not like that. I want to be like, fuck you too, dude. You know what I mean? So he's yin and yang, but we keep each other balanced. So that's why. But yeah, no, I can't imagine, the stuff that you feel or hear and whatnot and read on the comments. So I would imagine it'd probably be best to just not read them.
Yeah, most of the time that's what I do. I like to interact with the audience, my fans, followers.
Sure, yeah.
But sometimes it's not like that, because I don't want to go in there and read that I look like shit today. Like I'm glad you think that. I really don't care, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to read that negative any negative comment.
Yeah.
It's not worth my energy. It's not worth my time. I got better things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Mom of 3, you got a lot more better things to do.
Yeah. I was going to tell you with your daughter, screen time, monitoring the screen time. I have been doing so much research on that because I'm so afraid, like with the virtual and e-learning, that they're on their screens constantly or on, texting their dad. That's fine, but just constantly on that. So I personally have been doing my research on monitoring that and putting a timer on it. I don't know if your little girl has electronics, but it's huge with our kids now to monitor that.
Oh yeah, they both do. And my son, he's like I said, with Asperger's, he's incredibly tech savvy and switched on. So he's on constantly, but granted, he's different than most 12-year-olds. He's not doing Fortnite or anything else. He's reading on world history or Elon Musk or Nikola Tesla. So, but it is a huge challenge during this time, especially being working parents. I can only imagine that your schedule is insane.
Yes, it is.
5150 Apparel. Lifestyle with a purpose.
And you guys are
balance.
still filming, right? You guys are, that's
We
going on
are.
right now, yeah. So you're
Yes.
you're probably all over the place.
Well, and this is the thing. I have to COVID test every other day. COVID test
wow.
COVID test every other day, and they're here until the season is wrapped. And if another season gets greenlit, then they're back and they're here, like straight here. We're quarantined, can't go out, like nothing. We're in the house until filming is complete. So yeah, it's definitely been a lot different. We have to fill out paperwork before each time we're filming. Everyone wears masks around everyone. And I do want to hug my crew. I love my crew, my producer, all of them, everyone that comes. And I'm just like, oh, I want to hug. And we're like, no, we got to have masks on. We have to stay 6 feet away somewhat. It's a lot different. And it has been, it's been a challenge, but we've made it happen. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like at the end of the season. We did virtual filming, like filming from home on our own. I actually did a whole scene. Yeah.
Wow. So when you say they're testing you are you talking about the swab test, or they just temperature test? The swab every other day.
Your
nose must be pissed.
Seriously.
It's horrible. I think Addie's nose is more pissed than mine. She's like, why do I have to do this? And my mom was trying to help her before I left because I was, trying to get to do this podcast, get better Wi-Fi. And my mom accidentally did it. She was like, ah! And she was like so pissed. But she wants to do it, but then she screams when she does it.
Oh Lord. Oh man, that is insane. So what are some of the biggest positive surprises for you that have having done the MTV shows, still being a part of it, that have really come for you, for the girls?
I think it's brought a lot of opportunities into our life. And again, my passion, purpose is really to help others make a difference with the platform, however that may be. That will always be my goal. And I think I have that, I have that foundation to do that. So many followers on Instagram, I have that reach to really make that difference. And so that was my end goal. And I feel like I continue to accomplish, continue to succeed that. By all means, I didn't realize going through all the obstacles and challenges with addiction and all the adversity that I faced over time would lead me here. I kept saying, if I just make a difference in one person's life, that's all that matters. I've said it since 17 and pregnant, thinking a young girl getting pregnant at 17, 16 years old. But now it's like, no, I'm really saving lives. I'm really allowing others to own their stories, own their struggle with addiction, and get the help that they deserve. And that's really saving a life. And for me, I feel accomplished. I really, that's all I aspire to do.
Oh, I love it. And hey, same with us. You
guys are amazing.
Hey, can we help just one person? And then, you start getting the DMs of, oh, I've got a family member, they're listening to it now, and you had one of their favorite celebrities on, or just a person that sounded just like them from down the street. And, you start to hear of these transformative powers of, again, throwing away the shame, throwing away the guilt, throwing away the stigma, and just getting the word out there.
Yes. And the stigma against addiction.
So how long now have you been sober?
I have been sober since I went to the treatment facility in 2015.
Okay.
And since then, I really made my mind up. I really made it. It's so easy to relapse, and I understand, but for me, it was my daughters, hope, grace, faith. That was it. I knew that I wanted to get clean. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew the road to recovery was going to be, it was going to be challenging. Yeah. But making your mind up and really accepting that and moving forward, that was me.
Yeah.
So when you first, backing up to when you were in rehab, what was going through your head? Were you just like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do? Sorry, I'm fighting a fly right now, and
a fly. I see it.
Gosh. When were you like, oh geez, I shouldn't be here, or I don't need this, or were you just fully in? Because when I went in, I was just like, fuck. I was pissed. I went in with a chip on my shoulder, just, trying to do anything I possibly could to just get kicked out so I didn't need to be there. Ultimately, it was for the best and whatnot, of course. But what were you feeling when you first walked through the doors?
I just started writing about this, by the way, you guys.
Awesome.
Oh, should we wait for the book?
You're fine. No, you're fine.
We got the exclusive.
Yeah.
Um,
You heard it first here.
so I actually went to the facility, the treatment facility, the first time, or twice. The first time I went there, the emergency custody was filed of my daughters, the twins, and I was like, that. Nope, I'm going back home. So I told Larry, the executive producer, nope, I'm going home. Take me home. I want to go back to the airport. Got to the airport, went home, had a conversation with my attorney, my management, and that they were like, Leah, you got to go back. I was like, no, like I had to stay and fight for my kids. My mom was also at that time saying, if you get your kids taken away, then I'll never forgive you. And it was just like, it was very challenging. It was a very challenging decision to make. I was going through a divorce also at that time with my second husband, and all of that was, I actually divorced in the treatment facility, but yeah, I came back home and then turned around and went back. I was like, okay, this is it. I was suicidal. I was like, I just want to end my life. I want this to be over, and went back. But going into the treatment facility, I was so anxious. I could barely talk to the admissions administrator, and it was difficult. I felt like I was choking up. I didn't want to. I was just very, very anxious. And then when they were going through my stuff, and in the triage, I just saw the most vulnerable people, and I get so emotional because, I mean, they were just incredible, and it was like we were all like band together, going through all of this together, wanting to, to just be better versions of ourselves, and really get past our, the act of addiction, and get on our road to recovery. And so many people that even I was in the small triage area with have relapsed, and I don't know, it's just devastating. It's hard, it's difficult, and that's why we need support. But yeah, going into the treatment facility was very different. I mean, it was like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I was definitely angry, was scared. I knew it was coming. Withdrawal and detox is difficult.
Sure.
Like, you're gonna sweat. You're gonna, you don't know how your body's gonna respond. You're gonna get that ugh. You know what I mean? It's just that clammy, all of it. Yeah.
So I don't know what. I know you're hooked on prescription pills. Was it just opioids, or was it several kinds of pills?
Yeah, it was opioids. It was hydrocodone and Percocet is what they sent me home on. And I mean, from there I started taking Opanas and Oxycontin, like all of it. I mean, I was buying ridiculous amounts of prescription medication.
What was the amount of usage daily at your peak? Do you recall?
I don't even recall.
Oh,
I don't even recall, but I remember it leading into me, smoking the pills. It led me to try heroin. So many other things simply by being prescribed it led into all of this by a doctor that we're supposed to trust.
And I don't want to get too far. I have yet to, though, meet anyone that says, I take opioids and it's really helped me, and I've been able to just stop them and I'm better.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
My grandma is actively addicted to the prescription prescribed to her, and which same way my dad became actively in his addiction. Broke his back on a job site, and it was 95. And from there he's been on prescription medication, and it's just like, it's never enough. It's never, it's like you're constantly chasing that high, or that medication, because it's a 5 milligram isn't the same as a 10 milligram. Your body adjusts, to that. So
yeah, no, it is incredibly frightening. I remember after I had a minor surgery, I got prescribed an opioid, and I was like, nope, I'm good, I'll be fine. Dumped them down the drain. So it's crazy. I definitely had it on my side of my family, and one family member for sure that is not here because of the opioid crisis. And I just don't. I don't know. Have you thought about any sort of advocacy or spoken with others? It's like, not only do we have to stop the crisis of people having addiction to opioid, but are they really serving a purpose?
I think for terminally ill people,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can see that.
But I just don't feel like it should be prescribed to just anyone and everyone for a small headache or a back pain and by all means, I am no medical expert, but if it's highly addictive, there are so many holistic routes. Oh, literally put my phone on do not disturb. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're here. We got you. We can hear you.
Maybe. Okay, back to meeting. Sure.
All
Okay.
right.
Sorry.
You're good. We can
Do you
hear
guys see
well.
anything else on the screen or?
Nope, just you.
Just you.
Okay, perfect. No, I forgot what I said. Again, you do that all the time, right?
I do. I do. That's why I'm laughing. It's like, dude, story of my life.
We're talking about you.
Oh,
were gonna say
holistic
something-
routes.
Holistic,
Like,
yes.
Yes, I prefer holistic routes. I don't even like. I'm funny about taking Tylenol now. They want me to have surgery to remove a tumor, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not. You know what I mean? I was just. That's the anxiety that came up from my personal experience with addiction and being prescribed the medication.
Yeah. Well, and I know for me, because I do suffer from a lot of back issues and stuff like that, and you know, I found that, you know, when my addiction, in addition to trauma and the troubles within my marriage, is that you know, my drinking started to take off, not only to manage some of the emotional and mental stuff, but the physical pain as well. And so for me, I couldn't imagine, and thank goodness I never did start taking those pills. It was a form of oxy. I can't remember what it was. I know there's so many different derivatives and names that I just, for whatever reason, didn't. And you know, because it's troubling to see. It really is when people start to go downhill. We've had several people on that were very powerful individuals, and it took them down to nothing.
Yep. Me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who are some of the other folks that, as far as professionals, when it comes to the show, did you work with any, you know, I know Dr. Drew had a hand in some of the stuff early on with MTV, but were there any other doctors that came through that were, as it relates to either addiction or psychologically, about some of the things going on in your life as well?
No, not around that time. I mean, they definitely. I was in. My family doctor put me on diazepam, which was like an anxiety medication, which then just made it worse. Then I was nodding off on TV.
Oh, Lord.
You know what I mean? Not actually getting the help for the other medication I was on. It was, let me give you some more medication.
Right.
So if you want to know why I'm against it, that's why, no more medication. Prescription medication.
Yeah, I can see why it even spike you for you know, hey, there's a tumor, we need to remove it. I don't know about that.
No, just leave it.
Yeah.
No, not going under.
Oh,
not doing it.
gracious.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to, but I don't want prescribed anything. You know, I'll be fine. I just want ibuprofen. I would take something like that. Nothing else. Don't give me anything else.
Yeah. No, we hope that it is nothing major and that it goes smooth and everything else. So
thank you guys.
Definitely in our positive energy for that. Mike, is there anything else you want to ask Miss Leah before we jump into some rapid questions?
I think we covered it all. You ready for these? Just fire off some questions for you.
I think so.
All right,
make sure I don't forget this time.
These are meant to be fun. Go ahead, Mike.
You can have dinner with anybody you want, dead or alive. Who would it be and why?
Matthew McConaughey and his wife. I love them so much. I follow their Instagram. I just love their earthy vibe. I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll just sit
All
there
right,
and play some Hi, Leah. Love your show there, dear. This is one of my favorite ones. Is if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Make the world a better place. I would.
You and Jason
that
have like the same kind of answers. I would pick like fly or some shit, and he says to heal people. You said make the world a better place. Okay,
That's pretty cool though. Flying.
I take away. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll take away flying or teleportation, and you know what? I'll put heal people too.
In saying that, Leah, do you think that you, through everything you've been through, and this is something that I've found common that addicts have said, is that they're empaths of sort, but just through all the traumas and adversities that you have such a huge amount of empathy?
Yes, I'm definitely an empathist. 100%. Yeah. Feel everything super, super deep, super sensitive, emotional, like, but I can feel those things, but not allow them to take control. You know what I mean? Like we get to feel those emotions, but not sometimes.
Yeah, I've had to learn to regulate that. And prior to us recording, I was going to ask you about the boundaries process because, you know, you've obviously going through addiction and sexual trauma. How did you find the skill sets to start establishing boundaries with people and yourself, really?
I had to be okay with being alone first.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I had to create boundaries around toxic family members. And creating boundaries meant that I didn't see them for a couple of years after I came home from treatment. I actually was aware of the toxicity when I came home. I was like, this is not good for me. They wanted me to go to a sober living. That wasn't an option for me. I had children to get back home to.
Right.
But when I came home and I realized like this environment is still toxic, that's when I kind of started transitioning. I was like, this is where I need to create healthy boundaries. Not just, you know, it was for me, not just for my kids, but for myself, and my growth and my journey in recovery. So I bought a home a little ways out, away from everyone, and we have made it work. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's such an important thing to get out there because I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of, you know, your fans that hopefully will listen to this podcast that I think this is the first real opportunity I've had to talk with someone how important that is to establish that when you go through that kind of a trauma, because oftentimes we reenact a trauma. So if it's sexual trauma, we're looking for a connection there that is something pure and positive, and we don't realize the way to do it or to gain it is to withdraw for a while and gain our sense of self and, you know, self-awareness, self-protection.
Yes, and that's exactly what I've done. Yes, you said that great.
Awesome.
Balance.
All right, Mikey, what do you got?
Okay. If you could travel anywhere in time, forward or backward, but you had to stay there, where would you go?
To Mars.
So we're like
or the moon, like that would be right.
2080.
No, not me.
Where?
I think
hell no. I'm not going to the moon. Absolutely not.
So which one? Moon or Mars? Because you're obviously going into the future.
I want to walk on the moon.
Hell yeah.
No.
Okay. I'm with you.
For one, I hate flying. I hate flying, and the moon takes like 4 fucking days to get there.
Wait, whoa, no, we're in Leah's future here, asshole. So
we're talking
it's
about
like the year 3000, so it could take you like 30
the moon's
seconds
not
to
in
get
space
to the moon.
anymore in the year 3000.
No, but it's like 30 seconds and you're on the moon, and we're going for a walk.
No, absolutely.
Where are you going then?
4 days to get there. I would go back to like the 70s. I would go back in time.
Oh, okay.
I would go.
I totally missed that question.
1970 BC, before COVID, and I would just take in all the music and all that shit. And yeah, no, I would 4 days there, 4 days back, and then it's like, oh, there's the moon.
I literally said Mars, and I totally missed that rapid question at the beginning. Yeah, let's go to Mars.
It was rapid.
Mars is cool. I see. I'm kind of with you. I mean, as a kid, I wanted to be a pilot and an astronaut and all those things. So I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. She can go wherever she wants. Jesus, Mr. Judgmental Mikey, you just sit there and be quiet. No. What is something about you that people would be surprised to learn? That maybe that's not revealed in your persona.
I was gonna say, you're pretty much out there, right?
Yeah, and my memoir was like that was my tell-all. So it was like, I don't know if there's anything out there that the world doesn't know about me.
Any interesting hobbies or anything of that maybe doesn't get publicized or hits the cutting room floor for the show?
No.
You're
Like we
just
film
an
it all.
open book.
Yeah.
I know.
What are your pet peeves, or if any? But
Okay, I really do. I do not like toothpaste being left in the sink bowl or like the bathroom.
Oh, like a little chunk or
Sink?
something falls off in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the
Okay.
spit all over the mirror. If you have kids, you understand. And I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say,
why?
you've been in my
Or
kids'
not
bathroom.
flushing the toilet. That is terrible. Please flush the damn toilet. Like, who doesn't do that? Kids.
My nephews,
They
don't. My nephews
Yeah.
don't flush the toilet at all. Every time I'm there, it's just like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, why would I expect there to be, no pee or anything in here?
Oh no,
Yeah.
you get a little boy. Sometimes you get the number 2 left in there too.
Well, I'm just like, how come you didn't flush? Because I didn't poo. I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with anything?
Oh, shit.
No, I pay the water bill. Flush the toilet, please.
That's right. That's right. If a movie was made of your life, who would you want to play you?
This is my favorite question.
Oh, Jennifer Garner.
Oh, that's a good one.
A good one.
Why her?
Yeah. She was actually just in West Virginia. She's a native West Virginian.
Okay.
She was born in Texas and grew up here. And I just, again, I watch her on social media. I love everything that she does as far as like for kids and making sure, they have healthy food choices. And I don't know, I look up to her in a lot of ways.
Yeah. What else we got there, Mikey?
That's sweet. Who is your biggest inspiration or mentor in life?
Probably myself and my manager. She's been like the only person I had for really ever,
Sure.
honestly. So yeah.
That must be a really rewarding thing to not only have someone like that you work with, but they've looked out for you and almost maybe like a mother figure too that you could have ultimate trust with.
For so long, she said, "I'm your momager." She sent me clothes to Arizona when I needed, when I was in the treatment facility. She sent me clothes there, and like products and things like that. So it was really nice. It was really, I'm really grateful for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
LaChance?
Wrap it up with the final one here, Miss Leah. What do you think so far at this point in your life is your greatest achievement?
Recovery is my greatest achievement, and the life that I'm living now and thriving. Like I've never felt so great. Not even as a child, I've never felt so great. So just, that's it.
Good for you. That's incredible. We're happy to hear that for sure.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it and see it. And you mentioned some interesting stuff about Jennifer Garner. So it sounds to me like for you as a mom, total shift away from maybe how childhood was for you with feeding the kids good, healthy food and, discipline. Here you are giving me advice. That screen time, Jason, get on that shit.
Yeah. Yes, no, that's it. Like I wanted to be that foundation for my children. And even growing up in split homes, I thought that I had failed them initially. And, but I haven't. They have such a I have great relationships with both of their fathers. And they have that foundation. And I'm proud of myself. I'm so happy for them. They're already like, I always wanted them to be better than I was, but man, like they're going to soar past me. Like they're going to do great things. And I feel good about it.
Oh, we love it. Well, Miss Leah, is there anything else you might want to tell the listeners of the podcast about recovery and any of the other struggles that folks go through in adversity?
I don't think so. I think just love yourself. Be easy on yourself. We all make mistakes. We all have challenges. That's perfectly okay. They define us and make us exactly who we are. We wouldn't be who we are without them. Other than that, no. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. It's been an honor. It really has. I like you guys. I think this is the best podcast I've been on. I didn't know what to expect.
Well, we love hearing that. That's great.
Yeah, that's
like,
dope.
woo, okay, we're doing something well. All
Yeah.
right, you have some talent. But no, thank you very much. And yeah, please, let's keep in touch and any of the kind of things, and we'll continue with the positive messages that we can just put out there. And who knows if this crazy shit opens up at some point and you're out here on the West Coast, or somehow we end up in West Virginia, it'd be a pleasure to just meet you and break bread. And
Mountain Mom.
yeah, there you go. I like you. Yeah, I like you.
I like you.
All right. I'll just be Matthew McConaughey for you. We'll just sit at the dinner and I'll just
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Leah. We appreciate your time. Continue doing great, all right?
All right, you guys too. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Knockin' those lines, showing thoughts of rhyme.